Hello, my name is Tyler Nickerson, and I serve as the Director of Investments and State Strategy at the Solutions Project. And this moment is calling us from the deepest depths to step forward into leadership. And as philanthropist, I see an opportunity to do so. And for me, it begins here, in the Easttown neighborhood of Grand Rapids, Michigan, a city of 200,000 on Michigan's western shore. Easttown is split in half, with the northern section largely white and the southern section largely people of color. And this comes from the legacy of redlining. And since the 1960s, Wealthy Street, pictured here, has served as the racial dividing line for the city. My work began on these blocks during the height of the foreclosure crisis. Nearly 1 in 6 properties went to foreclosure in Easttown, largely south of Wealthy Street. I witnessed neighbors kicked out of their homes with their belongings strewn across their yard and no place to go. And for me and my squarely middle-class upbringing, it was an early lesson in how our social and political systems both grind together and tear apart, leaving many vulnerable people in their gaps. The foreclosure crisis caused the greatest loss of wealth for Americans, and largely people of color. And for me, it also deepened this understanding that big social problems can create change. And I witnessed that as a community organizer, with neighbors taking back their power, passing policies to prevent this from happening again, and keeping people and their neighbors in their homes. And so that brink of power is where we find ourselves today. Many movements of people, places, and issues are growing. Movements are humans' rawest form of power. The art and creativity all creates the context for big social change. And whether it be the Fight for 15, climate justice, or the Women's March, and of course the long work that came before, movements are addressing the fundamental barriers that threaten our democracy. And these are the moments to flip the system, to do our work differently, and to fulfill our wildest dreams. Yet philanthropic resources aren't mounting. Many good works are not sufficiently funded. Most dollars in philanthropy are still bound up in issue silos and cumbersome grant-making processes. And philanthropy is not built for easy change. It's disconnected and competitive. And even with its ability to skirt the consequences of shareholder and market performance, it's overly cautious and risk-averse. But what we learn from our movements is that if we work together, we are stronger and more impactful. And in philanthropy, we've seen this, from LGBTQ issues to multi-issue local wins in Atlanta, Seattle, Miami, and more just this last year. And philanthropy has the power to dream big and win big too. Like we see in the streets, we need a movement in philanthropy that takes risk, cuts across issues, and moves us beyond our comfort zones. And those with the ability to influence the flow of resources have the opportunity to stand in greater solidarity with the communities that we profess to serve. And in this historical moment, and if philanthropy is our risk capital, I'm asking myself, what risk am I taking? What part am I doing as people put their bodies on the line? And for me, that means taking the lessons and approaches of community organizing into my work in philanthropy. And I have seen people come together when otherwise ripped apart. And organizing people, dollars, and influence is so gravely important if we want to stand in solidarity with our nonprofit partners. That's why philanthro organizers are critically needed in this moment. Philanthro organizers are able to see the power in collective funding, take risks, and move beyond the comfort zone. And you, as a philanthro organizer, are needed in this moment. One example of this is at the Solutions Project and our support for Standing Rock. Last fall, thousands of indigenous leaders came together to stop the Dakota Access Pipeline. And we knew we needed to act quickly. So after spending time building relationships and understanding the work on the ground, we moved flexible dollars to new partners and even launched a voicemail application system because we knew that people who were protecting their drinking water didn't have time to write proposals. And we helped other funders come into the space. And all of that risk and relationship paid off. We had a big victory with the Obama administration as they stopped the pipeline. And today you can get in the game. Like we did with Standing Rock, we asked grantee partners what they really needed. We challenged ourselves to go beyond our comfort zone. And we built a group of funder partners that helped leverage our impact. It's a privilege to work in this sector. And as people are fighting today to protect their communities, you have the opportunity to join and help them win. And so today, I pledge to be a philanthro organizer, and I hope you will join me.